The short answer to this question is yes. Obviously, this has become standard of care for patients with relapsed or refractory non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after 2 lines of chemotherapy. And this is part of the marketing approval for the currently approved products on the European market. But the interesting question at the moment is whether actually CAR T cells, autologous CAR T cells that target the CD19 antigen will move from third to second line, meaning will patients with high-grade B-cell lymphoma be treated with CAR T cells as soon as they experience their first relapse? And that was the topic of the debate with several of my European colleagues following a recorded presentation by Professor Mehdi Hamadani from the USA. And the question relates to the recently published results of 3 different randomized trials comparing CAR T cells targeting CD19 to what is currently considered a standard of care, meaning salvage chemotherapy, and in chemosensitive patients, consolidation with high-dose chemotherapy supported with autologous transplantation. And it was nice to remind that the concept of salvage chemotherapy and high-dose consolidation chemotherapy dates back to the Parma study approximately 30 years ago, which, by the way, was already a very small study, multi-center international trial, randomized trials, but with very few patients in each arm. And the conclusion of this study has stand strong enough that they basically provided the basis for this standard of care for approximately 3 decades. It's now being challenged, but again, the discussion stressed the fact that the 3 different studies, 2 of which are positive and 1 is negative, have different designs. It's very difficult to compare the results of the 3 studies. That the 3 different CAR T cells that are evaluated in these 3 different studies were not compared head-to-head. So at the moment, it's very difficult to conclude, and it's important to stress that there is no marketing approval at the moment in Europe for CAR T cells in second line. One important aspect, of course, is that standard of care is a multi-step process, including 3 or 4 cycles of salvage chemotherapy, followed by high-dose consolidation therapy supported with autologous cell transplantation. So obviously, this is a lengthy process for patients with significant impact on quality of life. And at each step, a fraction of patients may drop out of the original therapeutic scheme for a variety of reasons. In comparison, CAR T cells are a one-shot treatment, but access to CAR T cells can be hampered by different reasons, some of them being related to the patient condition, some of them being related to the nature of the tumor and the course of the disease, and some of them being related to the current organization for access to CAR T cells. So there is no firm conclusion to this discussion. Again, CAR T cells are standard of care in third line, in relapsed and refractory NHL, B-cell NHL patients in third line. They may be moving in the future in second line once the healthcare authorities have decided on the strength of the 3 available studies.